I so miss Baines, don't you?
I know. Yeah.
Just his little chipmunk face. His
I
funny
know.
quips.
Our fluffy
Yeah,
guy.
he really does bring the funny.
No.
Just a big, sweet Canadian bear.
Yes.
Sweet little leather daddy. Where is he? Come back, Baines.
Just can't get out of the dungeon these days.
He's all tied up. Hello and welcome to the QUACKCAST. This is the Drunk Duck QUACKCAST. I'm Ozone Ocean and with me is Tant, Serene and Pitface. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey. This week we're chatting about the idea of when you become an adult, you're no longer a prisoner of the childhood prejudices you once had. Because when you're a kid, you like what you like what your friend group likes, and you really do not like what they don't like. Or you have things that you just won't get into because you know you don't like them, you know you're not into them. So you don't allow yourself the freedom to be able to enjoy those alternative things. But when you're an adult, you suddenly realize, hang on, I'm not held back by these prejudices anymore. I can go and look at this stuff that I wasn't interested in anymore and maybe see if I do like it. And that's what we're going to chat about. What kind of things have we changed about ourselves because we've realized we have got the freedom to explore. So this is quite an interesting topic. And you can tell us in the comments, hopefully, about some of the things that you've found yourself having the freedom to enjoy when you're not a prisoner of your childhood prejudices anymore. So before we get into that, we have to bring up the featured comic. QUACKCAST has given us a little featured comic, and this week it was Rota Metro. So, Quai, please tell me about Rota Metro.
Hello, this is QUACKCAST, and the feature I've selected for this week is Rota Metro by BYJ561, and it is rated M for mature. Ayana navigates while Alec takes the wheel of their father's Amberjack HK36L247 during a salvage claim expedition. This is the planet Madrio, where scavengers, hijackers, and claim jumpers are the only threat, in addition to being wiped out from riding too fast. Not to mention the growing population of wild hogs with terrific tusks that are multiplying by the minute. Salvaging machine parts in space never gets old. The comic utilizes a color palette made up of ocean greens and cool blues. Full-page comic story format in digital color. Get Ayana back to the ship and read Rota Metro by BYJ561, rated M.
And that was Quai with Rota Metro, which I always used to pronounce as Water Metro for some stupid reason. Constantly, I used to write it as water, not Rota. But we know it is Rota, and it has been featured. So cool for that, Quai. Okay, so next up, Gum Wallace has been too busy this week. Far too busy with all his New Zealander things. And his birthday. Oh my god. Gum Wallace has had a birthday. Happy birthday to Gum Wallace.
Another one?
Yeah, I
well
know.
Done, old man.
Happy birthday.
So, we can't play a song because he hasn't had time to be able to do one, unfortunately, with all his birthday stuff. So, I'm going to have to pick a favourite. Out of all the songs we have, we'll have a best of Gum Wallace. So,
I think you should just sing him happy birthday.
Is that going to be the Gum Wallace song? No. You sing him happy birthday. No, Tans.
What has he done to deserve that?
Given you the
he was
theme
born
to Without Moonlight. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, something that is melodic, and me singing happy birthday is definitely not melodic.
You're looking for loopholes to get out of it.
I will not sing it on my own. I need someone to just cover for me. Like
All right,
if you,
let's all do it together. That'll be a Gumwall song this week.
yeah,
All
I'll do
right.
it. If you do it.
On the count of 3. All right, 1 and 2 and 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gunwallace. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, you know what? Play a jingle for happy birthday as well, just to compensate him for this.
Okay. Oh dear. All right. A best of Gumwallace song coming up next. And now the music. This week it's the best of Gumwallace, and it's the theme to Faint. A raw thrumming violin importantly intones ringing chords over and over as it sets us up for a beautifully rocky crescendo that culminates in a tumultuous sonic climax. So this music originally appeared in QUACKCAST 459, and it's appearing again now. So take it away, Gumwallace, with Faint. And that was the best of Gumwallace. I hope you liked that. Alright, so next up, well, now up and away, we're talking about how we've been able to grow as people. Because, you know, when you become an adult, you're not beholden to your childhood prejudices and preferences so much anymore. I mean, they do inform what you like, of course. You know, you don't go, I'll put away my childish things and become an adult, you know, that kind of bullshit. Because you stay a child all your life, really. Like, you don't really change that much. You're still like the same clueless idiot you were when you were a little kid. But you've got way more experiences and all that kind of stuff informing what you like, and connections with other people, and you take on their preferences, and you think, oh, hang on, they're introducing me to some new things, so maybe I should try that. And you've got all that kind of stuff, and most importantly, dropping the prejudices you had as a child. So you're not necessarily dropping what you like as a child, because you can still like that, but you're taking into yourself other things that you were blocking as a child. So when I was a kid, what were the kind of things that I didn't like? Well, we talked about this in our little Patreon video before, but Terence brought up horror. I could not stand horror. Absolute verboten. No, I'm not ever going to watch horror. For me, also, like anything to do with sports, like freaking hate any sport-related stuff whatsoever. I do not like it. Anything even tangentially related to sports. So that's even documentaries or movies sort of based around a sport. Ugh, didn't like that. For music, for me, it was like jazz. Oh, couldn't stand that. Couldn't stand melodic-y kind of ballads. That would really piss me off. I like
tough.
Yeah, I like music that was more, like really rocky and fun and hyper and high energy kind of stuff. That's what I like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've opened up a lot of what I like. One thing I really had a prejudice against for a long time was science fiction. I loved fantasy, but if anything was science fiction, nerdy, dorky. Oh, get that away from me. Frickin' science fiction. Stupid. Like, I'd watch Star Trek, the original series, because that was one of the only fun kind of things on TV. But I would only kind of give it a pass because it was a lot more mainstream, but I wouldn't go for any, like, weird, freaky sci-fi stuff, and I would just, like, stay away from that. But nowadays, I've dropped that prejudice, like, a long time ago, and I love fantasy and science fiction equally, and I think, they're part of, like, the same kind of, like thing, and I love them both. Also, I used to hate, like, murder mysteries, because I used to think, oh god, this is lowest common denominator, this is the kind of stuff that everyone, they always play this on TV. I freaking hate it. But then they kept on repeating Law and Order over and over and over on the TV, like, constantly. And when I went to America the first time, that was just on the TV constantly. And when you're bored in your hotel room, with nothing to do and that's on, you just get into it and you think, oh, Jesus, okay, I'll give this a go. Oh, and you start to love it. So Law and Order, the original one, Special Victims Unit and all that kind of stuff is all right. And the psychological profiling one. But the original one, I just really loved it. So now I give, like, murder mysteries and police procedurals way more time. And, I can like that kind of stuff. So there you are. So much stuff has been expanded for me, and I've been able to expand my horizons and like more stuff. So what about you guys? Do you like a bit of the murder mysteries, or is that like really boring to you, or did you already like that anyway?
Murder mysteries in particular, that is something that I've opened up to a little bit more. Not necessarily like fictional ones, but I like true crime when it's handled by somebody who can handle it decently. Then I like that a lot when I used to not really go down that channel. But yeah, in terms of like just getting turned on to stuff that that kind of turned my nose up before, I talked about this on the video a little bit, but I'm more open to more like quote unquote like feminine things, and like my music tastes are a bit more open and stuff, and I don't know, it just feels good not to have these weird kind of prejudice walls up. Like, I remember one time I was probably in my mid-teens or so, and me and my cousins were going somewhere, and just like remembering some of the things that I would say about music, it sounds so like boomery, like these new artists suck, it's all electronic, and now I'm like, who fucking cares? Like, it's awesome. But I remember my cousin at the time, he was like, well, so's all the stuff that we like, because like we were into like KMFDM and stuff, and like and like I had such this prejudice against like newer poppy or electronic music that like it's like, it does sound very much how prejudiced people think, right? Like, I hate this is just the exception over here, this is the good one, right? Like, yeah. But the rest of them are terrible, and it's just such a useless mind frame to get stuck in. But
oh, definitely.
It only limits you, you know what I mean? Like, it only, in terms of like music taste and stuff like that, like it only hurts you. Like, you can't be honest with yourself about things. And granted, sometimes you just sincerely aren't into things. Like, yeah, like I wasn't into a lot of hair metal or grunge, and I'm still not really, but I will make exceptions, like, because like back in the day, like, you know, a lot of thrashers and stuff, like back in the 80s and stuff and into the 90s, it was kind of the thing where, like, you know, hair metal was like the ballady, dumb kind of stuff. And in some aspects, yeah, it is. But thrash isn't always the most high art shit either. So like get off my fucking high horse, you know? But and grunge I'm still not really into. It's just like, I think in terms of grunge, it makes me think of part of the 90s that I didn't particularly enjoy. So that's just it's just not my bag. But you know what, like, I'm not going to sit there and rag on Kurt Cobain because I think it makes me more of a thrasher now, you know what I mean? Like,
makes you less of a poser and more legit as a proper thrasher.
You didn't fucking do anything to me, it's fine, you know.
That's funny, you know, when you were saying that thing about hair metal, like, say in the 80s, I loved hair metal, and ballads wasn't a big thing, like in that style of music originally. It was just always like kind of the high energy kind of stuff, and that was what it was known for, high energy. But then one of the bands made a big hit with a ballad, and then it just became like a law of like commercialism that everybody had to do ballads, and then it became a freaking fad, and I hated it. And it killed the art form to me, and I started hating that style of music because they're all doing ballads, and it didn't fit with the style, didn't fit with the outfits, didn't fit with the stage presence. It was like a total disconnect, and this wasn't what I liked about the music. And then I started hating it, but now I've become more open to you know, glam metal ballads. So I can appreciate that now. But at the time, that pissed me off so much.
I gotta say, knowing you now, like, I can't imagine you not being into that kind of thing. It so seems your brand in a weird way.
What? Glam metal ballads.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just because it took the vibe right down, and you know, I love this high energy stuff that was just so stupid. Just, you know, singing about partying and getting drunk and girls and all this kind of stuff. It was just so fun and silly. And then they were talking like, "Oh, I love her, and not anymore. And what went wrong?"
Yeah.
But that's the bloody Def Leppard.
I used to really like that.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Now I can really enjoy it. You know, it was one of my favorite songs from Aerosmith. Was when he sings, "I used to feel your fire, but now it's cold inside," and it's just so cool. It's also another style of music that I hated, which was country and western. So it's a country and western glam metal ballad. It's so cool. Back on the street like you didn't miss a beat. Yeah, it's tell me what it takes to let you go. I love it.
Hearing you talk about the prejudice in that way, it occurs to me. I remember that one big prejudice that I had for the longest was anything Greek that was Western, in the sense like Greek metal, Greek pop,
Okay.
Greek, you know, insert whatever genre that came from the West, because it felt to me extremely like bogus, in a sense, like they just would steal the main feel of the art sound and just, you know, slap on some Greek lyrics there, and it would feel very disingenuous to me. But that actually, I have to say, did happen. I mean, we have a lot of quote unquote hit songs in the 80s and 90s for Greek pop that are basically stolen American songs
Yeah.
through and through. Not even a note changed. That level of
Oh,
of
right.
story. And that, however, made me completely prejudiced to anything modern produced in Greece in terms of music.
Mm.
And that was a problem, I think. Because now that I have gone back and tried again, I mean, I still hate those particular types of songs, but I have discovered a lot of new experimental or, new pop or even like a neo-rebetica, which is like the blues for Greece, and things like that that are very, very worthwhile or beautiful or inspiring. And I actually have them in my playlist now.
Mm.
That also goes for Greek metal as well. I mean, you have the very obvious and embarrassing. Oh, I like Metallica, and I have completely
Copied Metallica.
copied Metallica and put some Greek words there and yell a lot. And that's very embarrassing.
Yell
Like,
a lot. I'm
oh my
yelling now.
God. Yes, I'm yelling now. This is art. That sort of thing. But also, alongside that, there is a very genuine, very real, and very Greek in a sense metal uh, type of music that is very nice, and I really like it. And it was existing back then. It's not something new, but I could never discover it because even I'm pretty sure that even if I heard it, I would just hate it by default.
Mm.
For the first Greek syllable that I would hear, I would just go, switch,
Yeah.
switch the radio station, or shut it off. So that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's that kind of hair trigger, kind of instinctual. Ugh, hate it,
Mm.
can't give it a chance. So you can never get the chance to sort of to let it grow on you. Like I was talking about the idea of like I would shut off science fiction, and I wouldn't like that because I would just feel it like it was dorky, so I couldn't even look at it, couldn't like it. But now I love it. The same kind of thing happened with comics, I was like, oh my god, comics? Ugh, I can't get into that. Those are just like Asterix and stuff. Sure, Mad Magazine, yeah, that's fine. But like superhero comics, oh my god, no.
How banal.
Well, I still don't like go and buy superhero comics or anything like that. I like because it's really not what I'm into. But I will definitely read web comics that are superhero based, and I've got no prejudice against that now. Like for Marvel and DC and all that, the fact is, it's not like a prejudice. It's more like I just can't be bothered getting into it because it's a thing that you have to get into, But I can still watch the Marvel movies and the DC movies, fine, like any other poser. But getting into the comics is like it's an investment in time and money, but I'm not against it.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy like the web comics that people do, and those are fantastic, and I love them to bits. So yeah, and comics in general, I don't have a prejudice against anymore, like I used to back in the day. But yeah, now obviously since I've been doing web comics for a couple of decades now, that has evaporated. And I'm fine with reading that art form, and I do see it as a proper art form. For a long time, I didn't. It wasn't until my later days at university where my lecturers were going, "Yeah, well, you really should kind of explore this medium because you do like working in narrative art and sequential kind of stuff and like realistic stuff, and it does lend itself to it." And I was thinking, "Oh no, or maybe heavy metal comic, maybe that, but nothing else." But yeah, I did kind of expand my horizon and been rewarded for it. So I'm glad that I did. That was quite a big change. What about you guys?
And,
Oh, go. Sorry, Tans.
oh, no, you go.
No, I was just gonna onto you anyway.
And another thing that I was very prejudiced against as a kid and a teenager as well was romance in
Oh yes.
novels, movies, any kind of narrative work that categorized itself as a romance. No. Instant rejection from me.
Exact same with me. Yeah, romance, like anything to do with that was just automatically, chick flick, kind of girly movie. Can't watch it. But I can appreciate a good romantic comedy. I still get pissed off if it's too much about relationship stuff, not because like I'm a guy, I can't enjoy this. It's more like, yeah, this makes me sad about a past relationship, or I'm not feeling like I want to see a thing about, people being lovey-dovey because that makes me feel like shitty. Like watching a horror movie can make you feel shitty. Like you don't really want to like emotionally you might not be ready to watch that kind of stuff. So that's the only thing I have against them at the moment. But I still do enjoy romantic comedies as long as they're not striking too many nerves. So it's a different prejudice, but it's more one to do with experience than lack of experience.
Yeah, more to do with like actual personal taste rather than just kind of seeing the label and then moving on. Like I still say I'm flipping through the radio, and because I still listen to the radio in my car sometimes, and pretty much as soon as I land on anything country, I only have to hear one or two notes and I'm gone, because it's just, and there, I'm sure are exceptions out there, but its vibe just isn't what I'm into. Like the kind of feeling that I get when listening to a lot of it is not something that I enjoy. Like, for instance, to me, not just to me, but in general, a lot of country music is about, home and kind of where you are and be content with what you are or where you are and stuff like that, not really looking outside of it. And not that those are bad things, but I'm somebody who likes the idea a lot of going outside of your personal space, of traveling and seeing what's outside of. I'm very much like a Disney princess in that way. I want to see what's in the world. But so country music kind of naturally makes me feel almost trapped when I hear it.
Oh, interesting.
It makes me think of I don't know, being on my grandma and grandpa's farm and never being able to leave, which is weird because I liked being at their farm, but the thing was, we would always go home afterwards or drive somewhere else. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess country music has that orientation for me, that it makes me feel stuck, almost kind of jailed.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's a big taste thing. When I was little, my mum liked folk music a lot. So traditional folk music, and country music has its roots in folk music. So I would like country music that had that kind of tie to traditional folk music. So I liked that kind of stuff, but I really did not like the more modern, commercialized, hyper-commercialized country music from the United States that started to come out, Garth Brooksy kind of stuff and all the other kind of music in that vein, who really did hammer those themes of, like you were saying, conservatism, patriotism, my big
Yeah.
truck, my wife, all this kind of stuff, and they did just go on the same themes. So yeah, that does get a bit samey in the themes, and it's not that
very
appealing.
interesting how it's approached. Like for me, and I guess for a lot of people over here, country is very much exotic music in a sense. It's a music from a different, larger than life country, a country where everything is bigger, and so the music to us, at least to me and to people that have experienced country music together, it feels very much like the agent of something larger and more like alien to us, at least. So it has this connotation more than anything else, country music.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like it's exotic to us. Like,
Yeah. That makes sense though, because like take like traditional folk music from any other part of the world, like Mexico, Greece, like the medical that you were talking about, even like old like medieval-ish music or stuff like that, and that doesn't hit me the way that country does, because it still feels like somewhere else to me. It feels like I'm going somewhere else. It expands my world more than
limits
keeps it small. So
no, it's completely understandable.
I still love the folk music stuff, and any country that's the older style that does have those folk roots is quite appealing still. Like what was his name? Frick, Copperhead Road. Who's the guy who sung that?
Oh. Hey Siri. Everybody's Siris are going off now. Who made... Okay.
Steve Earle.
Hey
That's
Siri.
it. I got it.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about that.
Yeah, it's because I didn't speak.
You got it. An Irish fun.
I'm not sure I understand.
I did, yeah. I set her to Irish. It says car park instead of driveway. It's crazy.
It's Steve Earle. I know now.
Okay.
So yeah, so Steve Earle, that kind of country music, that has the more folk music base.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really like that kind of stuff. So something that, and I still really do like folk music. So I had always liked that, but I didn't like folk music that was sung by bad singers, and I couldn't stand that, because a lot of folk music is performed by people who are great musicians, but they can't sing for shit. And there was so many of them, and they would get their music produced and published because there wasn't anybody else, doing that kind of music. So they didn't have to get good singers in the bands. So whoever was playing an instrument would do the singing. But now I can give that time of day. So bad singers, I'm open to you.
Oh my God, yeah. There is one thing, like one type of Greek music that I had great prejudice, and I remain very prejudiced yet. And that is modern. Modern, when I say modern, I mean like post-70s. Post-70s. Bouzouki music, which aptly is also called in Greek dog music.
Dog music.
Because it is a horrible mix of like the Turkish sort of sound, like how can I say it? Like Amanedes is in Greek, but like the very, very iconic like clarinet or flute sound that we would associate with the Ottoman or Eastern music, with the bouzouki together in a horrible repetitive pattern. And then you get a singer on top of that is also wailing. And wailing about stupid stuff. The type of, like, you could have lyrics that are as deep as I lost my love, and because I lost my love, I'm going to eat spaghetti. Like that's a valid lyric, but you can have it. And I hate it. Oh my God, I hate it.
Sounds like country
I
music.
think I am actually allergic to it. It's like all the decadence of like post-junta and post quote-unquote hardship in Greece, wrapped up in one neat, horrible sound. And I hate it. And yeah. I cannot really...
As if they are driven to continue that hardship through creating bad music.
Exactly, thank you. Yes, and the thing is that they have the goal to try and categorize themselves, like these singers and these song artists, as tantamount to all the Rebetiko singers and artists, and they have nothing in common. Like the other ones are true artists, new patterns, new melodies, things that they had to say, anything. I mean, and they would talk about things ranging from, heartbreak and stuff like that, but also to drug usage, like back in the 30s, imagine, to politics, to issues like societal issues and stuff. And then you get these dog songs.
Dog song.
like I really agree with the name. And the only thing that they do is just talk about sex in a very obnoxious manner. And not even a meaningful manner. Like, I could totally roll with a song that talks about sex. They say something about it, but it's really like it's worse than the level of I like big butts and I do not lie, and it's not even that.
Jeez, now we have to have a Tan spoken version of I like big butts. I love that. It sounds to me like...
I also love that. That is a fun song, but that is a fun song because it doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah, true. Sounds to me like the intellectual Slavic dislike of turbo folk, which has similar origins. It's Turkish music joined to Slav pop into this new melange, and it's what the less educated, lower class people like. And
oh my God! Another word for these songs is also in Greek again. Is also dregs, like the dregs of the coffee. Like it's like the worst thing that is left at the bottom of the barrel when you are stupid drunk, and anything that is remotely a note is enough, and into a happy place. That's when they play these songs there.
Well, it's talking about a kind of music. When you mentioned, how you didn't originally like music that was not Greek in style, but like it was imported, and then it was like changed to be localized. So I felt similarly with like rap. It felt like it was more real and original if it was American, because that's where it comes from. But if it was an Australianized version, it just sounds, this is just weird sounding, and especially country music as well. That's been here for like many decades, because we had our own country, Australian country music, but then it became very Americanized in a very weird way, and that still kind of strikes me as just it's a bad fit. But the rap has been better localized, as it has been in many countries. In a lot of countries, like probably every country has its own version of rap now, and the Australian version is actually pretty cool. Like, there's this band Hilltop Hoods, and I really quite like their music. So yeah, it's there are many others, of course, thousands. But yeah, that has been something that I've opened myself up to over a long period. I mean, back in the day I couldn't stand any rap music, but I slowly became more like open to it. Although, unfortunately, it became the default style of music, which means like, so all pop music is that style. All pop music is a slightly electronic kind of rap stuff, and then it becomes just the background and it becomes the basic. So
Yeah.
there's more kind of shit produced.
Yeah. Like I do have a sort of like I like Greek rap right now, but again, not all of it, in the sense that we did have this very awkward stage of rap being the new thing, and then everyone's trying to do it in Greek, and it sounds horrible and and a bit stupid, like very pretentious in a sense, I would say.
Yeah.
But now that you have like a couple of decades in, and you do have, like, we do have some bands that utilize rap in a way that feels genuine. Like, for it works very well in the artistic ensemble that they put together in their song. Usually, you have like segments of rap within a song that has also more melodic parts, and it works excellently. And I really like that. I really like that when I hear it in Greek. What I don't like, and I don't think, of course, no, never say never, but I don't think I will ever get to like it in any form internationally, including Greek, is trap music. I really don't like that.
Sorry?
So, trap music.
What's that?
Oh, I will allow you to experience it yourself.
Did you say trap?
Trap. As in a trap door, like trap music.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Oh, do you suppose that this is a Greek concoction? Like, we have that honor of making that kind of trash?
Well, it could be. I just have no idea. Trap music?
Trap music. No, it's not Greek in origin. It is a subgenre of hip hop music that originated in the southern United States during the early 2000s. There you go. So, yeah, I like you. I can not really describe it. You need to experience it. And I'm like, a lot of apologies to anyone who really likes trap music. It might be an old person thing. I think that I really cannot understand the logic or the allure to that sort of thing. And it might be just because I am not, like, it's not for me. It's not for my cohort. That might also be a thing. But I hate it. Oh my God. I prefer to listen to dog songs to that. Like, imagine. So.
Well, it'd be something to open up to and give a go to, maybe, for me. No. I'll have a look.
No, I don't think. Like, I tried. I have to say that, contrary to my youth, I did try. I did listen to a couple of very famous. Like, I sort of Googled, like, the top trap songs. What are the ones that are the most popular? And I couldn't listen to any to completion.
Well, yeah, I mean, as you become an adult, there are some things that you will open up to because you will lose prejudices, but for other things, you really don't have the time or the energy to become invested into many new things. Like, okay, extra short videos. So this became a real kind of hit back in the days of Vines. So Vine. So this is quite a few years ago now. I don't know when Vine started. But that was when it really took off for the idea of extra short videos and people creating 5-second long comedy strips or however long it was. And yeah, that was a huge thing. I never really got into it, and that became so big that like mainstream media started to be doing that, and releasing very short comedy strips. It just was not for me. I think there is still a bit of that on YouTube because they migrated over when Vine died. But of course we have TikTok and Instagram and Facebook all copying exactly that format. People go on about, TikTok, it's the new thing. Oh my God, TikTok. It's just what frickin' Vine already had done to death years ago and then been destroyed because of it because they couldn't make money out of it. But yeah, so TikTok is the resurrection of that. And Instagram and Facebook are both doing exactly the same thing anyway with their stories. But yeah, that's just not for me. It's just annoying.
I kind of like it. I mean, if it is well thought of and like it's like a very short little anecdote kind of thing, I like it. I think like any kind of video, it depends on how well it is made and how concise and like meaningful what they want to say is, or how good is the joke, or how
people can get really creative with stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
The Instagram version is a bit more tolerable because that's not so much someone trying to be funny, someone trying to be completely frickin' self-referential and just making it all about them. And that kind of, you get more of a mix of things. There's, people filming great events and stuff like that, whereas TikTok is far more kind of arrowed in on particular things. And because of the algorithm, it will only tend to show you certain things, and it won't give you a huge variety of stuff. So that's why I'm not so much into the TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit more limited in what it shows you. But yeah, that's, as an adult, that's something that doesn't really appeal to me too much.
Oh.
Well, so what other things have you guys found yourselves expanding into? I mean, for me, I would have found like dressing up in costumes, like cosplay and stuff like that, really kind of silly and pointless and bizarre. But now I love doing it. So that's something I've opened up to and got rid of my prejudices against that.
Well, comic-wise, as a comic creator, I've come away from Putrid Meat quite a lot. I think it will always be near and dear to my heart, and the scuzz will always be in there somewhere. But Blitzov and then Inhabitants opened up a little bit more from that, and especially the things that I have planned for Inhabitants, like there's going to be a little bit of romance involved, which I've never really written seriously before on my own. Like Tanya and I have written things like for Brave Resistance and stuff, but that'll be a first for me, just kind of opening my mind that way. Because what I've found, one of the things that I found is that there are certain kinds of, I guess, quote unquote, romance that I do enjoy, that if they're done in a very specific way. But so now that I'm learning more about those tastes that I do have, I'm able to incorporate them into my art, into my comic more. And I think in that way, it kind of has helped me expand my palette, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, you have grown massively in the time I've known you in your comicking. It's just really kind of blossomed and changed, and that's been fantastic to see. And Tance, as well, you've kind of expanded and changed what you're into and, your style. And grown a lot as well. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's been good to see how pressures have sort of altered and changed what you're doing. So for Tance, you moved into doing your war comic, and that meant you had to do a lot of research and base things on real people. So you had to do more kind of and real environments. So you had to use references a lot more, like not just for history, but for actual visual appearances of things. Yeah. And Pitt, you moved into, I think your biggest move, really, when I noticed it, was you moving into the digital world more than pen and paper. And then your work just went into doing things like you never really did before. It became more minimal, more kind of fields of color and stuff, and different kinds of color that you'd use that you didn't really use before.
Yeah, I would definitely say working digitally has helped me to expand a lot, because digital art is something that I also had a little bit of a prejudice against too when I was working fully through traditional medium. And it wasn't so much in the sense that I hated if other people did it. I wasn't as open to it, I guess, like as a stylized thing. I didn't like it quite as much as like, people who were working with like, textured watercolor paper or like, those very naturalistic textures. But once I decided to give it a try, it's just a whole world opened up. And especially now that so many other people have gotten into it, it's helped digital art expand quite a lot as a medium. And there's just so many things you can do with it, instead of just trying to reproduce what traditional media does. It can go in its own direction and find its own strengths, which there are a lot of. So that's a lot of fun, and I can't imagine a world where I never let myself kind of wade into the deeper water. It just sounds just very not fun to keep yourself confined.
Yeah, I found that myself with digital art. The more you do it, the more options are open to you. And if you just stick to doing conventional, traditional media, or whatever you like to call it, pen and paper, brush and paper, then you're quite limited in what you can do, where you can do it, how long it takes, all these storage, all these kind of things. It just multiplies. Like, you can't, there's certain things you just can't do in traditional media very easily that are so simple in digital art. Like, so watercolors is a particular style of work, which means you have to start from light to dark. And if you want light areas, you can't apply media. That has to be like let free until the very end, which makes work involve so much planning and forethought.
Very rigid process.
Yeah, unless you want to mix in some white gouache and then it has a particular look and it doesn't look as good anymore. But it creates fantastic effects. But you just have to, know what it's going to look like from the beginning. Whereas with digital art, you don't have that restriction anymore. You can totally erase anything and go back, and you can still have the same beautiful light to your work without having to plan.
Yeah.
And another thing that like I really had to commit to digital media when my eyesight became basically defunct. I had to blow up everything to 400% zoom to be able to see it accurately enough to make it. And now I have better glasses, among other things. But still, just the ability to zoom in helps immensely. And also, layers and stuff like that. I mean, it makes things less stressful, which is good for me. So,
yes, it's very stressful when you have not got any safety net to the work, and you can't go back. I mean, there are arguments for that. When you haven't got a safety net, then your work's just going to be what it's going to be, and you work with more mistakes, and you live with the mistakes, and it's it's really cool. So not having a safety net is a great way to work, but like you say, it's stressful. It's something you don't want your work to be about stress. So bugger that.
Yeah.
Like there's this old thing. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Well, fuck you. Sometimes being comfortable enables you to do way more interesting things and way more fun things, and you enjoy what you're doing a lot more sometimes. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not all work is about like exploring and forcing yourself like to be in panic mode and dealing with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's pluses and minuses to all that. Well, we should wrap it up because Google's just going to kill us. It's going to execute the call in 2 minutes. So, thank you very much for being on the Adult Cast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.